Hey everybody, good evening. It's a little after 7. I know some of you are probably watching the Charlie Kirk Memorial. And then I came on, ruined it all. My fault. I apologize. Anyway, I hope you all had a good weekend. I hope you were enjoying watching that. I watched a little bit of it. It's just sad that that happened to him. And I hope the man is found dead or is executed, and that's that. Um, and I'll get into a little bit more of that later on in the podcast here. But so yeah, hope you had a good weekend. I know there's a couple hours left. I hope you had time to hang out and not do anything, just kind of relax. Because in less than 12 hours, work week starts again. Always fun, always fun. Nothing like being a wage slave. It's a real treat. But I guess you like to eat food and have a roof over your head. There's very few things you can do about it except do it. It is what it is, I guess. So I want to start off by saying I owe everybody a huge apology for last week. I know there's a lot of things going on, and everybody was kind of worked up and emotional about Charlie Kirk. But I forgot that something else very important happened um, in Pennsylvania. 5 police officers were shot serving a warrant. 3 of them were killed in the line of duty. Um, and that's just as important. Um, One of the officers killed was a 39-year-old Detective Sergeant Cody Becker. The other was 43-year-old Detective Isaiah Emmenheiser and 53-year-old Detective Mark Baker. They were killed while serving a warrant on pretty low-life piece of shit in York County, Pennsylvania. At the conference on Thursday, York County District Attorney Tim Baker said the actor, that's the gentleman or the thing that shot the police officers, said he would not mention his name again and would only refer to him as the actor. And that's how it should be. You kill police, you don't get to get your name mentioned on the news. You should get buried in an unmarked grave in the middle of nowhere so nobody knows you and you're forgotten. I did read that the actor was shot and fatally wounded, which is good. I hope it hurt. Like I always say, I hope it was the most excruciating final moments of his life, and he never experienced more pain. And I know it's weird that you have to say this. I'm sorry, that this has to be said. But if you're a police officer, I know nowadays you're catching a lot of flack from a lot of mouth breathers and basement dwellers and knuckle draggers and Google law school graduates. But all of us that are decent human beings appreciate what you do. We know it's a tough job. We know it's not glamorous and it's not fun. And sometimes it's extremely dangerous and sometimes it's heartbreaking. But we appreciate what you do. We see you and we notice you. And I know, like I said, over all the other noise coming from the mouth breathers, it might be hard to hear, but thank you. And anytime an officer is killed in the line of duty, that's horrible. I can't imagine having a job where every time you leave your house, you don't know if you're coming back. It's got to be rough on the officers, and it's got to be rough on the families too. So again, let me give these guys their due respect. Detective Sergeant Cody Baker was 39. Detective Isaiah Emmenheiser was 43. And Detective Mark Baker was 53. They were police officers in Pennsylvania and were killed serving a warrant. There were 2 other officers, and I'm sorry I didn't get their names, that were wounded. But from what I understand, they're going to recover, which is great. And again, the thing that shot the officers died in the street like an animal. And that's good. That makes me smile a little bit, knowing that shit stain of a human being won't be breathing the same air that we will anymore. So yeah, I apologize for not mentioning that last Sunday. I do apologize. That was definitely a mistake on my part, and I hope nobody looks into it more than just it was my mistake. I am definitely 110% pro police officer, always have been, always will be. And again, I apologize for not bringing that up last week. I do. So that little bit of business out of the way, let's move on to some good news. Victor, the boy, you can read that too. The boy who laid on top of his friend to shield him during the shooting at the Minnesota school was released and is recovering with his family. That's the real Superman. I mean, that's a kid who did something probably 98% of the adults in this country wouldn't have the balls to do. He took a bullet, literally took a bullet for his friend. That's incredible. That's awesome. I mean, really, like I said, he did something most adults wouldn't do. Most adults would run screaming the other way. He dropped on top of his friend and took a bullet. That's what we need more of in this country. Just that. I mean, call it loyalty, call it bravery, call it being just a good human being. That's what we need more of. Less liberals, more of this kid. That's what we need. I think that would be a step in the right direction for the world, not just the country, for the world. I mean, there's no, I don't have the word strong enough to describe how impressed I am by that kid. I don't. I'm glad he's recovering. I'm glad he's back home with his family. And I hope nothing but good things happen to him from here on out. I hope he wins everything he does. I hope he hits lotto every other week. I wish him nothing but good. I mean, he's earned it. He's earned it more than I have. He's earned it more than anybody I know. I'm glad he's home. I'm glad Victor's home. And if anybody knows the kid, tell him I said, out damn standing. Be proud. I mean, that's an accomplishment. That's something he should be proud of for the rest of his life. And anybody who meets him should be impressed by him and shake his hand and tell him how impressed they are by what he did. Something he should wear like a badge for the rest of his life. Not bragging. He can be humble, but everybody should remember that kid forever. That's who should go down in history. That's whose name we should repeat over and over and over and over. They should be like, hey, that guy just did a Victor. Like, make it a good thing. Like, when you do something incredibly noble or incredibly brave, call it a Victor. You did a Victor. That would be cool. Give the kid his props. I mean, really, that is awesome. I wish I had stronger words. He's, like I said, the real Superman right there. Wow. I mean, everybody would like to think, hey, if something were happening, I would, take the bullet for my son or take the bullet for my friend or whatever. And that's easy to say when you're sitting in the comfort of your own home, safe. This kid actually took a bullet for his friend, laid on top of him to prevent his friend from getting shot. He literally did what a lot of people talk about in bars while they're drinking beer. I mean, just think about that for a second. That's beyond bravery. That's, wow. In this day and age, with the people coming up, that's almost incomprehensible that somebody would do that, and he did. That's, I don't know, but that's whatever it is, he's got it. And I hope more people like him are coming up too, because that's what we need. That's definitely more of what we need in this country. Less of those people shoving cameras in cops' faces and trying to make a buck being an asshole. That's what we need. Heroes like that. Heroes. That's what heroes not even strong enough word. I mean, God, the kid took a bullet. Can you imagine? At that age, jumping on your friend while someone's shooting, and he knew he was going to get shot, or he knew there was a good possibility he was going to be shot, and I know adults who wouldn't take a slap in the face for people. This kid took a bullet. That is impressive. And I could talk about him for the next 5 days. I mean, really, that's something that everybody in every news outlet and every podcast should be talking about that kid. Forever. They should start off every show with him. Like, hey, this is Victor. He took a bullet for his friend, and he's a kid. Most of you wouldn't cross the street to help a stranger. You know, wow. That's, I mean, that's the stuff right there. He's got what, like I said, whatever it is, he's got it. And that is awesome. So hats off to you, Victor. If you're old enough, I'd buy you a beer. If I ever meet you, I'll buy you a milkshake or whatever it is you want, man. You got it. It's on me. I'll take care of it. That is awesome. Whew. Took a bullet for somebody. I mean, like I said, everybody likes to think they would do that. Talk about doing it. Or, I wouldn't let anybody hurt you. I would, and it comes from a good place. And I hope the people who talk about that never have to truly find out if they would. Victor stepped up, didn't talk about it. He just did it. And that's awesome. That's impressive. Very impressive. So hats off to you, Victor. You are the man and should remain the man for all of your days. I don't know if you heard about this. Robert Redford died this week. He was 89 years old. I did not agree with his politics, but I thought he was one hell of an actor. And I listed some of the movies some of his best movies, in my opinion, that I watched with him in it. Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid, of course, is, I think, his best. Then you have The Natural, which is a good flick. The Sting, funny. The Last Castle, if everybody's seen that, it has him and James Gandolfini. Good flick. If you haven't seen it, check it out. And, of course, Jeremiah Johnson. But, yeah, I think Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid was his, probably, in my opinion, one of the, if not the best movie he was in. It was just incredible. Love that movie. Good movie. Paul Newman. He was Sundance, or he was Butch, and that was Sundance. So, yeah, it was a good guy, good actor. Did a lot for, wildlife in the community, but did not like his politics at all. But I don't have to like everything you do. I've never met the perfect human being yet. And I don't have to like your politics, but I can like what you do. And I did not like him. He's a good actor. So sue me or whatever it is. Oh, I'm sorry. It's been a long day. So sue me or do whatever it is you think you should do. But I thought he was a great actor. Victor. I mean, wow. That's still in my head. It's going to be in my head the rest of this podcast. I'm telling you, that's just impressive. And I knew about it, but it's just, wow. Good kid. I'm sure he's going to grow up and be an exceptional adult. With the Charlie Kirk murder or assassination, people have been calling for gun control again, even though that what was used was, I think, a bolt-action antique rifle. It wasn't even something modern. But still, the left is jumping on this to try to use it to ban all sorts of things like guns and people talking and religion, all sorts of things the liberals want to ban. They're bringing back up again. And, I've been asked by some people, where do I stand on gun control? And how do I think guns should be dealt with, people like that? And I figured rather than try to explain it, I would show you a graph that really sums up how I feel about gun control. Changes I'll support gun control. I guess you could call it purple or lavender, represents none. And I like the color red, but it's also no. I'm not going to support it, but it's just in red. So, yeah, I am not going to support gun control. It's horrible that some people use guns to kill people just because they're sick individuals. I think what we need more is mental health, not gun control, because if we don't have guns, they'll be stabbing people. They don't have guns. They'll be using bows and arrows. If someone wants to kill somebody, they're going to find a way to do it. Guns are just convenient right now. And like I said, if they go away, they'll find something else. So what I think we need to do really is mental health and holding people accountable. If you're convicted of a crime, you don't get a slap on the wrist and sent home. You do your time. Like Gavin Newsom is letting people go willy-nilly, murderers and rapists, because they've been in 15, 20 years, and now they're helping people learn to read. That's great. I've never said a person can't be rehabilitated. I've never said a person doesn't deserve a second chance. But that all comes after you've served your time or you've been held accountable for what you've done previous. If you get sentenced to 20 years, you do 20 years. If you've been sentenced to life, you do life. I don't understand the confusion with that. These people don't get sentenced to these long periods of time in prison because they were jaywalking or because They didn't pay a speeding ticket or they were shoplifting or anything like that. They're there because they've hurt, killed people, raped people. And you're going to do your time. That's how it should be. But as long as we have people that have those bleeding hearts, I want to let everybody out after 20 minutes in prison because they said they were sorry. And, they promised never do it again. So we're going to cut their sentence in half. We're going to keep having issues with weapons. We're going to have issues with guns. We're going to have issues with knives and baseball bats and hands and hammers. Anything these animals can use to kill somebody, we're going to have problems with until they finally realize that they will be held accountable. And that means you do your full sentence. As simple as that. I don't understand why liberals are so quick to give a pass to everybody who hurts other people. But when it comes to like conservatives or people who believe in God, that second chance ends. They don't want to work with them. They're not going to help them or do anything for them. They're the problems in the country, not the criminals. It's the people who believe in God or speak their mind or stand up for what's right. We need to punish them and hold them accountable, not the murderers or the rapists. If they're teaching people to read, they could come out of prison again. No. Don't agree with it. Never will. If you get sentenced to 20 years, do 20 years. Unfortunately, if you get sentenced to life, you're going to have to do life. It's that simple. But again, that's just me talking crap, I guess. I guess what I'm saying doesn't make sense because it makes sense. Maybe that's why liberals don't like it, because it makes sense. And they know it makes sense, and it hurts their head. I don't know. I'm not a liberal. And by that, I mean I don't have my head shoved so far up my ass I can't breathe. I mean, because I have common sense, I have intelligence, I have the ability to see and process information and see what works and what doesn't work. I have those abilities, unlike most liberals who don't. Most liberals see the world one-dimensional. And that one dimension they see is what they want it to be. And what they want it to be is reality. And if you don't fit into that reality, well, you're the problem. And you need to be rectified. And lately, that means they're going to kill you or attempt to kill you. Liberals are not very sane people, regardless of what they say. Oh, and I'm going to say irregardless a lot. And I know that's not a real word, but we had a meeting with all the podcasters, and that came up, irregardless. And I'm just going to say it because I think it's funny. I know it's not a real word. I know, I got it. It's an inside joke, and maybe I will. Maybe I won't say it. But yeah, liberals are dangerous people. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care, what stats they trot out in front of me and say, oh no, they're not dangerous. They're very sane and friendly and loving people. I can see what's going on. I can process the information that I've seen, and I can come up with an hypothesis that liberals are dangerous people. They're violent people. Not all, but the vast majority of liberals are violent. And how do I know that? You can turn on the TV and you see riots. You can almost guarantee the people burning and looting and hurting other people are liberal. I can turn on the TV and people shooting police. I can almost guarantee you they're liberal. I can turn on the TV when political figures are attacked. I can almost guarantee the shooter or the murderer is a liberal. This is information I've processed. More often than not, it's a liberal, which means more people are violent that are liberal than there are people who are conservative and violent. The reason conservatives aren't violent is because of what I just said. We have the ability to see and process information. We understand everything is not the way we want it to be, and that's fine. We'll work to change it. We're not going to kill people to change it. We're not going to take away people's First Amendment rights of freedom of speech to change things. We're not going to go cancel people because we don't like what they say. But then when they cancel someone on our side, we get all pissy about it and cry and scream like Jimmy Kimmel. It's okay when they canceled, I got a list of people they've canceled. Hold on, let me shake. And it's ridiculous. The people they've canceled. Dave Chappelle, Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Gina Carneiro, Hulk Hogan, Russell Brand, Tim Allen, J.K. Rowling, Kid Rock, and others. They've canceled for what they've said. But the minute we do something to them, it's wrong. Now it's wrong to do that. People have freedom of speech. You can say what they want to say. Number one, it's not the government that did that to Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel's piss poor comedy routine did it. He's not funny. He's never been funny. He's a fat, lonely person who gets off on making fun of people that are far better than him and have accomplished more. His shtick, just like Colbert's, got old after a while. Nobody wants to hear you making fun of the president every goddamn night. or making fun of conservatives every night. It gets old after a while, man. Come up with some new material. That's why he got canceled. And they can twist it to say, well, the government did it, but the government didn't do it. And if the government did cancel him, then yes, I'd have a problem with that. But from everything I've read, the network did it. It's that simple. You can try to change it to something bigger and more important than that. But that dog don't hunt. He got canceled because he's not funny. He's not making the network money. He's costing them money. Get over it. Dude's not funny. So, I don't know if you've been keeping up with current events. I'm sure you have. But in case you haven't, the U.S. Navy put down another boat, drug runners coming from Venezuela, which warms my heart. If they are drug smugglers, then what's happened to them is A-okay with me. President Trump says U.S. has carried out another fatal strike targeting alleged drug smuggling boat. I think it's the third one he's done, and I'm sure there's going to be more, and that's fine. If they, like I said, if they are drug smugglers, blow them out of the water. I mean, they're peddling poison and killing people. And I don't want to hear, well, the drug smugglers aren't the bad people. They're just trying to earn. I don't care. I don't care. You're involved in the drug business. This is what, live by the sword, die by the sword. This is what happens. I don't feel sorry for him. I know it was a couple weeks ago he sank the first one. And then a week ago, I think it was a week after they sank another one, and this past on the 19th, I think, the Navy put down another one. And that's fine with me. I'll sleep better at night knowing that these monsters are being dealt with finally, because everyone else is turning a blind eye. If you call it the war on drugs, then treat it like a war. I don't understand why people are so up in arms about this. It happens. Here it is, declassified photos. Yeah, I wonder how much longer they're going to keep trying to run drugs in water when this happens once a week now, when they're dropping the hammer on you. I don't think I would want to do that anymore. Hey, do you want to run some drugs up to America? No. Maybe you haven't seen the news, brother, but they're sinking us. And they're not taking prisoners. They're not sending anybody out to pick us up. So no, I'm not interested. I think I'm going to try to make a living the honest way and stay dry. So yeah, it's not a good time to be a drug dealer. Finally, we're waking up to that and going to put an end to it, or attempt to put an end to it. I don't think we'll ever put an end to it. I think we could slow it down drastically, because it's going to get harder and harder, like I just said, to find people to run drugs, knowing there's a 50-50 shot of getting wet and cold in the dark. So yeah, maybe it'll slow it up. Who knows? Maybe it'll have no effect at all, but we won't know until we try and keep trying and try for another year or so and see what happens. Can't hurt. I'll say that. It cannot be a bad thing. It's going to have to make some type of effect. Like I said, who's going to want to be doing that for a living if there's a chance you're going to die? Not me. I don't care how many hundreds of thousands of dollars you're going to pay me. I don't want to get shot and blown up in a boat in the middle of the night in the ocean. Not going to happen. That's just not going to happen. And I was thinking, well, when these drugs get to our country, what happens? What's the big deal? Well, here's the big deal. It's kind of hard to read, so let me blow this up for you a little bit. There we go. Methamphetamine, of course, is the most trafficked drug. Sentences were increased. Right there it says 82.2% of drug traffic offenders were men, 42.7% were Hispanic, 28.1% were black, 26% were white, and 32% were other races. The average age was 37 years. 84% were United States citizens. That's sad. The average sentence for drug trafficking offenders was 78 months, but that varied by drug type. 96.6% were sentenced to prison. 64.7% were convicted of an offense carrying a mandatory minimum sentence. 55% of those offenders were relieved of that relieved of that penalty. Again, methamphetamine looks like it's the most trafficked drug, followed by cocaine powder, and then it kind of funnels down. What do we got here? Sentences long for drug. Methamphetamine it's the longest, most amount of time in prison for the sentencing, and it should. I mean, we're not talking about someone smoking a joint. People die for this stuff, and they kill for this stuff. So yeah, it should be. The sentencing should be stiff. And like I said, there should be early release for this stuff. There should be, oh, you've done well. You're teaching other inmates how to cook or color or read. So we're going to forget everything you've just done, and we're going to let you out of prison years early because they're going to go right back out and do it again. And then here we are dealing with the same crap again. So no, I am not for early release at all. Never have been, never will be. I'm just checking my notes, make sure I've got everything that I wanted to talk about. Yeah, we're good. Here is the Venezuelan President Maduro. And a very intimidating fellow. He's got his hands up. Looks like he's going to beat somebody up. But it won't be the cartels, because that's fine. Dealing drugs is fine. It's countries that are getting tired of dealing with that shit are the people he has a problem with. We should just let them come in our country and drop their drugs off and kill more of our citizens. That's what he wants us to do. And he wants to fight us. He's threatened us several times now. I hope he knows nobody takes him seriously. I mean, I don't think the man's a threat at all. I think he's a joke. And from what I've read, he's pretty much a dictator. So I don't care what he says. Never have, never will. These people have just, I don't know. The world's going crazy. We're supposed to let people come in our country with drugs. We're supposed to not care about liberals killing conservatives now. We're supposed to be friendly with them and try to reach out again. I don't know. And I'm not trying to be a jerk. I truly am not. There comes a time when you got to stop talking. And this is one of those times with this jerk. We're not talking anymore, man. You've had plenty of time to try to stem the tide of drugs from your country, and you haven't. You've done nothing. And now that we're trying to do it, you're upset with us. We're the bad guys. What's really funny is what he thinks he's going to do. The U.S. Navy now has 2 Aegis-guided missile destroyers patrolling the waters near Latin America, the USS Gravely and the USS Jason Dunham, as well as the USS Sampson destroyer and USS Lake Erie cruiser. 3 amphibious assault ships encompassing a force of more than 4,000 sailors and Marines will be entering the region this week. Deployment comes as U.S. President continues to push for the use of the military to thwart cartels he blames for killing Americans. Here's just a little picture. That is the U.S. This is CG-70, the USS Lake Erie. Yeah. That's what he wants to fight. Let me find the stats on that little baby. Here we go. Find it. I got so many notes. It's insane. That thing by itself could destroy Venezuela. Don't need anybody else out there. That could seriously damage that country. And he still wants to threaten us. There'll be repercussions if we do that. He's worried that we're going to invade his country. Number one, I don't think we have any desire to invade his country at all. Who wants Venezuela? We just want the drugs to stop or slow down or have him at least assume some responsibility and try to stem that tide himself. But he's not, because he's probably making money off of that too. So yeah, there's that ship, the Lake Erie. Just a lot of pain floating off the coast. There's another ship out there, too, that was there last week. I think it's still out there. That is the Ticonderoga. It's a guided missile cruiser. It's got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 missiles it can launch, guns, radar jamming capability. Why? Maduro needs to calm down, or he's going to pick a fight that he can't win. All he's got to do is help fight the cartels. That's all he's got to do. That's it. And then we'll probably leave. Once we believe that he's actually trying to do something, we'd probably back off. But we won't know because he's too busy, put up your dukes. I'm going to bop you one. He's too busy trying to be a tough guy than to be a smart guy and go, yeah, how can we help you? What can we do to help your country? Because if it's affecting our country, it's affecting his country too. I don't get it. I really, really, really don't. But I hope he comes to his senses before this keeps going on. I mean, hopefully something will happen. It'll change his mind. He'll wake up in the morning and go, holy crap. They could really kick my ass. I need to do something. Maybe I should do the right thing. Give it time. A lot of people come around. Maybe he's just a slow learner. I don't know. I don't know the dude. I just know everything I've read, he's a dictator. So right off the bat, he's not very intelligent. But dictators do understand force. That's one thing they understand is force. And that's a whole lot of force coming to bear on him. Or not him, on things coming out of his country. So hopefully he'll, at some point, go, wait, maybe I should change. All right, I rambled for a long, long time there. We're going to take a break, come back, and we'll talk about rich white kids with too much free time on their hands.
America's Pulse Network. The mainstream media is bought and paid for. The truth is twisted to fit their agenda. But America is waking up because podcasts are the future for trusted media. Welcome to the America's Pulse Network. It is a network built by patriots that upholds the Constitution. The America's Pulse Network stands for God, truth, and the America First movement. There is no corporate propaganda, no government spin, just real news, real talk, and real voices fighting for faith, freedom, and the future of this great nation with common sense. Here are some of America's Pulse Network podcasts. Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. APN's The Pulse, hosted by Alexandra, Damon, and Seth. So tune into America's Pulse Network on the following social media platforms: X/Twitter, Rumble, Truth Social, Facebook, and YouTube. Join the revolution. Because the pulse of America beats for God and country. America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.
So yeah, I got The Pulse, which is every Wednesday. It's a good show. It's everybody, including Elena Barbera, sometimes Tim Eisenberg. I'm sorry, I'm pouring a drink, not a beer, not booze, just something to drink. It's every Wednesday at 7, 8. Every Wednesday at 8. And then Damon the Hammer Galdo has his own show and radio show during the week. And Alexandra Levine's the White House correspondent. She has 2 shows during the week. We've added another podcast that should be starting soon. I don't want to give away the surprise, but it'll be starting soon. And it'll be a good show. Younger people talking about things that younger people want to hear about rather than my old ass rambling on for an hour and a half. So yeah, we're getting big. And if you want to sponsor a show or sponsor the network, just go to our website, and it's right there, AmericanPulseNetwork.com, and click on sponsorship, and then just fill out the form and someone will be in touch with you. You don't have to sponsor this show because I'm sure nobody with a business mind wants their name splashed on my podcast, but there's other shows and there's just a network in general. So if that's something you're interested in, please, again, AmericanPulseNetwork.com, click on sponsorship, and then follow the directions from there. It's pretty simple. If I can do it, anybody can. So, again, with current events, I don't know if anybody's heard about this. Trump has designated Antifa as a major terrorist organization, which I completely agree with. They have never done anything to help society at all. Pretty much all they do is burn, loot, and hurt people. Everybody to them is a fascist. Nothing about anybody else besides them is good. They are definitely not good people. The problem with Antifa, and by problem I mean the way dealing with them, the problem would be is they have a decentralized structure. There's no formal leadership, no formal membership requirements, or centralized decision-making process. It's individual groups doing individual things with using the same name. So it's kind of hard to fight when you can't find out who's running the show. And since there's no like membership requirements, you really can't track who they get. So it's not, you can't make a profile. Hey, we need to start looking for people like this, this, and this. They're very small groups. They can act independently, which makes them, for lack of a better word, dangerous. So that's just one of the many problems. And I think another thing about Antifa is that they try to trace their historical roots back to anti-fascist resistance during World War II. They are fascists. They make no mistake about it. They are not the good guys. They're not fighting the good fight. They're not trying to help people. They are fascists. They are anti-First Amendment. They are anti-American. They're anti-everything. They are the fascists, and that's who we should be worried about, not them worried about us. But they think we're the problem. They all the groups employ different tactical, different tactics when they deal with the public. Some activists focus on research, education, and peaceful protests, while others have engaged in property damage and physical confrontations with opponents. I have never seen any of the Antifa groups focused on research, education, and peaceful protests. Never. I don't know why they said, well, it's probably because it's a liberal newspaper. But I've never seen that. I've never seen, Antifa for libraries or Antifa for, single parents. None of that. I've seen Antifa burning, attacking people, destroying public property, and just otherwise and all around being schmucks. But that's what they do. Like, again, I said, it's a bunch of rich white kids with too much free time on their hands. Like most of the protesters we see now are geriatric people who don't have much free time left on their hands and have no idea of how to spend it. So they're out there harassing and giving everybody else the business rather than enjoying their golden years. Like I said, this country is just crazy. I just when I think I got it figured out, something else happens and I'm back to square one going, what the hell? What are we trying to do here? It just seems when we start getting ahead, not even ahead, we start making some progress, some liberal, literally a liberal, comes along and pisses on the parade and causes everything to take 4 steps back. I don't know what they're hoping to accomplish. I mean, maybe they don't even know what they're hoping to accomplish at this point. Maybe it's just insanity and they don't know what they're doing. They're just giving in to their whims and feelings, and any direction be damned. We're just going to do what we feel because we feel that we're right and we feel that you're wrong, which makes everything we do good. And that's the problem. The media and Democrat politicians demonize everybody on the right. Homophobes, transphobes, Nazis, fascists, a threat to democracy. And they repeat it over and over and over again. And look what happens. We get people who are actually trying to make a change in a positive way, like Charlie Kirk, and they kill him. I mean, I don't think they killed him for political reasons. I honestly think they killed him because of his religion. He was proud of his religion. He was very open about his faith in God and Jesus. And I think that, I don't want to say scared. I think that made people on the left mad because we all know they worship government. And if you don't worship the government, you're a problem. And maybe because he was very strong in his faith in Jesus and God, they thought that was dangerous and that might become catchy. We got to stop that. So they killed him. Do I think it again? And I'll probably talk about this a little bit later, but since I'm kind of on on the subject of rich white kids with too much free time on their hands, there are still people out there, and I don't know what their problem is, who are desperately trying to make this some big conspiracy. Desperately. The cameras were moved, or the security guard behind him was giving signals to somebody, or it doesn't look like he was shot from the front. I mean, sick people, sick, lonely people are coming up with stuff like that. And I hope and pray that sooner rather than later, society will see these people for what they are and cut them out. I don't mean violently. I mean, just ignore them. Let them fade off into obscurity. Because I can't imagine why you would want to perpetuate bullshit like that. This was not a government hit. We know it wasn't. We have the guy. He's admitted to it. But then if people say, oh, no, he's a patsy, he was talked into. You know what? You can make up a conspiracy theory about anything, and it will be never ending as long as you have the time and energy to come up with more BS. You could have an answer for everything. So it makes no sense. Why do you even try to talk to these people? One person did it. There was no grand conspiracy. He wasn't a sniper. It wasn't a government hit. It wasn't a professional hit. It was some basement dwelling mouth breather who was in love with another man who thought that they were a girl, didn't like what Charlie was talking about when it came to transsexuals and homosexuality and the LGBTQ community and his faith in God. Didn't like what he had to hear, and he shot him. It's that simple. I know some people are just not intelligent enough to grasp that and have to try to make it something more, because that would make more sense if the entire government was against Charlie Kirk and hundreds of people worked together to get this one guy to do it, and he's dead, and that's the end of the conspiracy. It doesn't even make sense when you say it out loud. Let the man rest in peace. Let his family start. Well, I guess today would be the start of the grieving process because today is the memorial service. Let them process this and move forward. Shut up. Really. It's getting fucking tiresome. Every time I look on social media or somewhere, there's some talking head spewing verbal diarrhea about the conspiracy behind the death of Charlie. There are people trying to profit off of him. There are people who are blaming Israel for this and all sorts of other outlandish crap. I blame social media. And more importantly, I blame the dumb people who watch social media for following the other morons who are spewing this BS, giving them likes and views because then they think they're right and they just won't shut up. They'll keep running their mouth. I mean, everybody's an expert about something on social media now. Now everybody's a forensics expert. They know exactly from the trajectory of the bullet and how he reacted and the way the sun was setting and the shadows it was casting, that he was shot by 47 people that were 3 miles away from him and to his left, not in front of him, to his left. And Israel was behind it all because they didn't like Charlie, even though Charlie liked them and had visited Israel and was one of the biggest supporters. They didn't like him. I hope everybody's listening. And when they go on Facebook or X or whatever social media platform you use and you see these people talking that you make a mental note of who they are and put them on your block list and be done with them. Move on. I would rather watch the kid that opens toys on Facebook for 7 hours than listen to any more of this droll nonsense BS about conspiracies and Israel killing Charlie Kirk. Literally, I would rather watch a child open toys. That would be more interesting to me. Maybe I should be drinking. I don't know. I can't be the only person tired of hearing this. I can't. I hope I'm not. I pray to God there are other people out there that are like, yeah, dude, it's getting ridiculous. Everybody's got some theory about what happened. Even though it was on video, we saw it happen. That's not enough. It's been manipulated. The Jews, Israel's behind it. And I'm not going to say names who's saying that. We all know who it is. It's the same group of miserable mindless mouthpieces, racist zombies that it's been for a while, all spewing the same stuff to the same people, and everybody, the same people are listening, and they're carrying that out to other people. I don't think, even if Israel didn't like Charlie Kirk, let's go this way, even if Israel did not like Charlie Kirk, they got a war going on. You think they're worried about one dude? They're fighting a war. Would be the least of their problems. Even he's one dude in another country. Why would they care? I mean, all right, back to what I was saying. I'm sorry, we'll get to this later. Antifa, white kids with too much free time in their hands. Here's some, work of these young darlings. They're just trying to light the night so the officers know where they're going so they don't trip on anything. So they lit some pallets on fire and blocked off half the street because there's probably a pothole there, and they don't want the cops to trip over it while they're walking. So, they're just trying to help. That's what Antifa does. They try to help. Very helpful kids. Here's more of them. Again, just hanging out and having a grand old time, lighting fires, damaging property, tying up police to deal with their moronic crap, and just being all around little assholes. And if you notice, they're all white kids, rich white kids who are in college, who had a silver spoon shoved in their ass, don't know what hard work is, have never had to go without. When you say living paycheck to paycheck, they look at you and go, what's that mean? They have no concept of the real world. That's why they're out doing this stuff. Again, liberals see the world as they wish it were and accept it as reality. And when reality crashes into their fantasy world, they don't know how to act, and this is what you get. You get fools lighting fires and fighting police and damaging property and hurting people because they don't know how to cope with reality, because no one's ever told them no before. They've never been punished. They've never had their ass beat by their parents for stepping out of line. Nothing. So they don't know how to deal with reality. So they lash out and attack people. That's all they know how to do. Because they're mentally deficient. Or as I like to call people like that, they're a dent. They're just a dent. They don't know how to cope. And the rest of us that do know how to cope have to deal with this. We have to deal with the aftermath and live through it and deal with the crap that this all comes of this. We're being punished for having common sense, while they get to live their best life dumb as a bag of hammers. Doesn't seem fair to me. But I'm glad Trump has called them a terrorist group, and I hope whatever that entails for a domestic terrorist group starts to happen. Start locking them up when we see them. Put them in jail. Separate them from their trust funds, and they won't know what to do. I'm just tired of all the bullshit that the liberals have started. The First Amendment auditors, the Antifa, they had the Black Lives Matter march in, was it New York, with that Putz, I don't even know his name, walking, piss on Charlie Kirk, piss on his ashes, fuck, just an animal, literally an animal, screaming and yelling with a bunch of animals behind him, like parroting what he said. It was comical had it not been real. If it were like a skit on Saturday Night Live, I'd have laughed my ass off. But it was real. And this is what goes on in this country. This is what passes for political discourse. Laughing and threatening, or laughing over the assassination of a man who did nothing but talk to people. Talk to people. That's all he really did. So they wished him dead. Now it's funny he's dead, and blah, they're all making jokes. But as soon as they get caught for it and something happens to him, then it's wrong. Then it's First Amendment. Jimmy Kimmel getting canceled. That's their hill they're going to die on now. Is Jimmy Kimmel, that fucking idiot. Good Lord. I have never heard a man more unfunny. Well, Colbert. He's not funny. He's an idiot. He's done blackface, and that's acceptable because he's a liberal. It makes my head hurt what these people do and what they accept. But if it happens to them, it's different. we have to do something with the liberals. I don't know. We send them to the room without dinner, give them a timeout, something. Something has to be done because they're getting worse. They're not getting any better. It seems the more we try to reach out to them and try to compromise, and I'm not a big fan of compromise at all. Never have been. But when we try to compromise, they get crazier. And people are dying for it now. People are dying because of it now. I don't know what the answer is. I don't. I wish I had the answer because I would tell them, hey, this is what we got to start doing. But I don't have the answer. And I'm sorry. I got a feeling more people are going to die. And that's unfortunate because it's going to push us into a position where we can't be pushed back anymore, where we're up against the wall. And we all know the saying about an animal in a corner. I hope it doesn't get to that. I don't. I really don't. Because I don't think the left realizes how bad it would be for them if it came to that. I don't think they understand that carrying your little umbrella with your little can of mace and your cell phone, screaming obscenities at a guy who has no problem, if it comes to it, would have no problem hurting you really bad. And all your friends and anybody else that's with you and is capable of doing that. I don't think the left understands that we're trying to be understanding. We're trying to be the good guy. We're trying, okay, enough's enough. Stop. Just stop now. And they do it again. Okay, that's it. No more warnings. You got to stop. They do it again. Look, we can't let this keep going on. And they do it again. How many more do-agains does the left think they got until we finally say, that's it? We've reached the end of our rope. Here we come. Be prepared. I don't think it's many. I don't think there's many do-agains left. I think it's getting scary close to a big pushback. And nobody wants that. Nobody. I don't want that. None of the people I know want that. Nobody wants that because it's not going to be pretty. And it's not going to be a quick thing. It's going to be a long, drawn-out, horrible chapter of history for this country. And I hope we can do whatever it takes within reason. I'm not saying let them continue to push us or let them continue to kill us or trample on our rights. I'm saying I hope we can come to some understanding and stop this before we really, and by that I mean like really fight back. Because the left doesn't know. They're ill prepared for what we can do. And if that happens, I feel sorry for them. A great wave of pity will swell up in my chest for the left if they push us to that. Because it's not going to be good. And I hope, like I said, I hope we can do whatever we can to avoid that, to make sure it doesn't happen. But I got a bad feeling. Well, I don't want to say that because nothing is set in stone yet. I'm hoping cooler heads prevail. I hope people that are much more intelligent than me can come up with some idea to prevent it from getting worse. I just don't see it happening. They've already arrested a guy I think was trying to get into the Charlie Kirk Memorial today, dressed as a police officer, and he had guns and stuff. He was going to kill people. He was going to kill people at a funeral or a memorial, a wake, whatever you want to call it. He was going to kill people because he didn't like what the man said and didn't like that people were there to mourn his loss. He was a lefty. He was going to kill people. So maybe there is no getting around it anymore. Maybe there's no way to stop it. Maybe it has to happen. Maybe this is what needs to happen. Maybe there has to be a big culling of the country with the ones that don't like America and don't like God and think sin is in and all that. Maybe we need to straight up head on take them on. Maybe that has to occur. Maybe that's the way it's supposed to be. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. And if you think I'm wrong, again, there's the chat. Post it. Tell me I'm wrong and tell me what you think can happen or what we need to do to stop what potentially, or not potentially, what I think we're headed towards if things don't change. And I know people say, well, Jesus doesn't want that. Jesus wasn't above flipping tables and whipping people. Let's not forget that. He wasn't all do what you have to do. We understand. No, he had a line too. And when you cross that line, he got physical. So don't say that God wouldn't understand if we push back. Yes, he would. I think he would. He may not be happy. I don't presume to know God's thoughts. I think next week, speaking of that, I'm going to have a guest on, a pastor who I've had on previous, very intelligent man. He's got a master's in theology. He has his own, has his own church out there in the Midwest. Very smart man. I like him a lot. He's a friend of mine. His wife I've known for years. Maybe I'll try to get him on next week and we can ask him those kind of questions. Like, hey, what does the Bible say about this? What should we be doing? What does God want from us? Because I'm not the man to speak for that. I don't know. I just know I'm scared. I think things are I think they're going to start snowballing in such a way that we can't stop it. I'm scared for me. I'm scared for my kids. I'm scared for my family. I'm scared. I am concerned at this point. I'm not scared. I am very concerned in the direction we're heading. And it's not the right's fault. It's not conservatives' fault. It's not somebody's fault for speaking about their faith in God. He's not to blame. It's not someone's fault for speaking the truth. That's not to blame. What's to blame are the sick people who think those things are bad and don't have the ability to discuss, hey, I don't like that. This is why I don't like that. Their idea of discussion is hurt, pain, attack, maim, burn, destroy, kill. So I don't know how you can blame the right for this or conservatives. We're not the ones shooting people. We're not the ones burning buildings. We're not killing cops. We're not rioting. We're not doing any of that. We're just talking. We're talking. And apparently in liberal America, that's a death sentence. And like I said, I'm concerned where that's going to lead to. Because we can't continue to let it happen. We can't let these bored, rich white kids dictate what goes on. We can't let these people who are hundreds of years old march and threaten and scream and kill. We can't let these mentally ill people, transsexuals, and other people own weapons because they turn around and kill us with them. We can't. This all has to stop. And gun control is not the answer. It's never been the answer. Again, that's the chance I'll support gun control. Because if we can't, if we give up our guns, only bad guys are going to have guns. And right now, the only bad guys that I have seen are liberal. And we know what happens when they get guns. Conservatives die. And that can't happen anymore. That really, really can't happen anymore. So if you have an idea what we should do, lay it on me. Because I only see this road ending in one stop. And that's not a good place to stop it at. But it seems like that's where the left wants to push it. Like that's where they want to take it. And if it keeps going this way, we're going to lose the ability to stop it anywhere else. And we're going to get to a point where we're going to have to fight back. And I don't want that. I don't think anybody wants a war. I don't think anybody wants a civil war, whatever you want to call it, if that's what it ends up. Nobody wants that. But it seems that's what the left is pushing us to. They're killing us. They're trying to trample on our rights. And whenever we fight back, they villainize us. And for the longest time, I blame us because we've allowed that to happen. We haven't even gently pushed back enough. And look where we're at now. Now they think it's okay to kill us. I don't know. Like I said, there's the chat. If you have an idea, put it up there. Because maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm a doomsayer. Maybe I'm a pessimist. Who knows? I don't know. But if you have an idea, put it up there. We'll look at it. We'll be right back.
America's Pulse Network. The mainstream media is bought and paid for. The truth is twisted to fit their agenda. But America is waking up because podcasts are the future for trusted media. Welcome to the America's Pulse Network. It is a network built by patriots that upholds the Constitution. The America's Pulse Network stands for God, truth, and the America First movement. There is no corporate propaganda, no government spin, just real news, real talk, and real voices fighting for faith, freedom, and the future of this great nation with common sense. Here are some of America's Pulse Network podcasts. Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. APN's The Pulse, hosted by Alexandra, Damon, and Seth. So tune into America's Pulse Network on the following social media platforms: X/Twitter, Rumble, Truth Social, Facebook, and YouTube. Join the revolution. Because the pulse of America beats for God and country. America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.
Welcome back. Again, my name is Seth Eisenberg. This is the Conservative Corner. We've been talking about Antifa. We've been talking about Venezuela and the Navy taking charge of drug smugglers out in the open sea, and kind of talking about Charlie Kirk a little bit. I know everybody was watching his memorial. The APN had that going, I think, for like 3.5 hours. They showed his wife speak, some other people speak. President Trump was on there speaking. And I don't know, I've read somewhere that they caught a man trying to get into the memorial dressed as a police officer with guns. He was going to kill people. I mean, this is what the left is sick. And I'm not talking about all the people on the left. I know some people who are Democrats, and they're good friends of mine. And they don't condone this either. But it just seems that the crazy left is taking control of that party. And it's doomed. I think that party is doomed. Until it does some in-house cleaning, it's not going to do itself any favors. What do I mean? This bag of hammers. Jasmine Crockett. I want people to know that just because someone has committed a crime, that doesn't make them a criminal. Take a second and drink that in, people. Just because you commit a crime doesn't make you a criminal. She said that. I'm not making it up. That's what passes for leadership on the left. That's why we're in trouble. You can't reason with a jackass like that. You can't have a civil, intelligent conversation with a dent like that. You can't. That is a person, like I said before, that sees reality as they wish it were and accepts that as it is. And if you don't adhere to her reality, you're the person that's wrong. You can't talk with a person like that. You can't reason with a person like that. They are stupid as the day is long. And you will never convince them of otherwise. I mean, look, she really said that. And like I said below, if she's ever had a clever thought, it died alone and afraid in the dark. She's never had an intelligent thought in her head. I don't care what college she went to. This is what she says. Just because you commit a crime doesn't make you a criminal. What does it make you then? A member of the lollipop gang? What happens? What are you if you break the law if not a criminal? You may not be a career criminal. You may not be a diehard criminal, but you're a criminal. You've broken the law. And I'm not talking about speeding. I'm not talking about jaywalking. I'm talking about hard crime. You're a criminal. People voted for her. People voted for that. This is what we're supposed to talk to, compromise with, and come to an understanding. This is the shit we have to deal with. Really, how do you talk to someone like that? I don't. Maybe her weave was put on too tight and it cut the circulation off to her brain. I don't know. But she's not an intelligent person. AOC is not an intelligent person. All the members of the squad are not intelligent people. Adam Schiff is not an intelligent person. Maxine Waters is not an intelligent person. I could go on for hours naming the people on the left that are not intelligent. And I'm not just, that's not an opinion, that's a fact. That's just basing an opinion on what they've said. And who's the other goddamn idiot who's a liberal who said if everybody, I can't remember Guam, I think he might have been talking about, said if everybody on Guam went to one side, the island might tip over. He said that live on TV during an interview. The island might tip over if everybody goes to the one side. Oh my God. I'm not making this up. I'm not making it up. I wish I were. I truly wish I was making everything up I said. I wish I'd made that statement up that Crockett said. I wish I made the statement up about what that representative said about the island. I wish. But it's fact. You can find it anywhere. This is what we're dealing with. These are the people that are calling the left or the right Nazis and fascists and the danger to democracy. These are the idiots. And if intelligent people were listening to them, we'd have no problem because intelligent people realize, you know what the hell you're talking about. Whatever. But the problem is they have catered and they have worked their platform to appeal to the lowest common denominator, the idiots of this country, and the idiots of this country are dangerous. They know it, and they keep appealing to them with this bullshit. I don't understand how, well, no, they know what's going to happen. That's why they're doing it. What I don't understand is why they're not being held accountable. And then I come to the realization that in D.C., Republican, Democrat, different sides of the same coin. They're not going to hold each other accountable. They're not going to. They'll scream and yell and, like I said, hold their hearings, but nothing ever comes of it. It's a game, and we're the ones paying the price for it. You're not a criminal just because you break the law. Just because you commit a crime doesn't mean you're a criminal. And she got elected. What does that say about her constituency? I know what it tells me about her constituency. Yeah. Well, I'm not going to say. Here we go. In Germany, Deutschland, the motherland. Jews are banned from here. Nothing personal, because that's not personal. And not anti-Semitism, because you're just banning Jews. Doesn't make it anti-Semitic. They just can't stand you. It's how it started before. Little signs. It's how it happened in our country. Signs. We don't want you in here. Can't sit here. Can't use that. Same thing with the Jews. They ignored it then. It's just going to pass. Nothing will come of it. Don't worry about it. We're going to be fine. We're good. Then what? The night of the 1,000 broken windows, and it all went downhill from there. It's not going to stop. When we got idiots like this fanning the fire, stuff like that is not going to stop. This in Germany will come to this country. Mark my words, it will start happening here. If it's not already happening, because of jackasses like this and Ilhan Omar and Candace Owens and all the other talking heads that are rabid anti-Semitic, spreading their bullshit hate to dummies who will act on their hate. It's not going to get any better. It's going to get dangerous for Jewish people. And I gotta tell you, it ain't going to go like it did in the 30s and the 40s. We're not going to just sit here this time. Not going to let that happen. Not going to sit idly by and hope someone stands up for us and hope people fight to help prevent what happened happening again. It's not going to be like that. And it shouldn't be. Everybody should be concerned about that. Because like Alexander Levin has said before, if they come for the Jews, they're coming for the Christians next. It's going to happen. They killed Charlie Kirk over his religion because of his faith in God. I believe that. The left couldn't have that. Couldn't have a man that had a following that big and appealed to that many people espousing God and Jesus. Can't have that because their God is government. And if you don't worship the government, you're a problem. That's why they killed him. I'm telling you. It's not a conspiracy theory. That's why that nut shot him, because he was preaching the word. And the word wasn't what he wanted to hear. The word didn't comfort him in his actions and him living in sin, didn't make him feel good about himself, so he killed Charlie Kirk. It wasn't the government, it wasn't Israel, it wasn't some conspiracy theory like all these nuts are spewing out. It was a man who was angry because Charlie Kirk believed in God, stood up for his faith, and people were following him, and that upset the crazy son of a bitch, so he killed him. I'm telling you, it's as simple as that. Doesn't need to be some grand theory like these other idiots who are trying to profit off that man's death are trying to push on you. It's not some great crazy thing. That's what it was. And it's sad. It's sad that he had to die because of his faith. And like I said, maybe next week I'll have that pastor come on and we can get a little bit deeper into that part of this whole issue, because I'm not an expert. I'm not. He is. Like I said, he's got a master in theology. I don't. He would be the man to ask. So I'll get a hold of him and see if we can do that next Sunday. I think that would be good. I think he would have a lot of insight and can explain this much better than I could. And you all could ask him questions, and he'd be better equipped to answer them than I would. So maybe that's what we'll do. I'll see if I can get a hold of him. Can't promise it because the man's busy. He's got his own church. This past Monday, I was involved with a candlelight vigil for Charlie Kirk, put on by the Frederick County Conservative Club in Frederick, Maryland. Well over 300 people. People go, how do I know that? We had, I think, 350 candles to give out, and we ran out, and people were still asking for candles. Not a scientific count, just a common sense count. A lot of people, and the good thing was, none of the idiots showed up to give us a hard time. It was a very respectful crowd. Good people, mourning the pass of a good man. I was impressed. If anybody knows anything about Frederick County, you know it's not a very Republican or conservative county. So for that many people to turn out was impressive. I will say this: none of the elected Republican county or city officials showed up. None of the county or city Republican organizations showed up. They didn't send. I think one representative might have showed up from one of the clubs, but fuck them. So if you live in Frederick County and vote in Frederick County, when election time comes around, remember that and don't vote for the incumbents. Get them out of there because they were too busy to even make an appearance. Heather Fletcher, who's running for the Board of Education in Frederick County, managed to get there. She was there. But none of the other elected officials could be bothered to show up. The Central Committee, once again, has showed how impotent and utterly useless they are in Frederick County. Utterly useless. I think maybe one representative of them showed up towards the end. Again, just an impotent group of people, more concerned about getting money and throwing parties than actually doing Republican and conservative things. The Women's Republican Club had a tent at the fair, so it kind of makes sense they couldn't show up. They had something else going on. That was the only group that really had any reason they couldn't be there. No other group has an excuse to send 2 or 3 people from their committee to be there, but they didn't. And that's why Wes Moore is the governor of Maryland. Because the useless Republican Party in Maryland doesn't know how to fight, or they put people in positions of central committees that don't care. They're there to use the committee as a stepping stone or to throw parties and fundraise. That's all they do. So again, if you live in Frederick County, do not vote for any of the Republican incumbents. Vote for whoever's running against them. And if there's no one running against them, don't vote. Undervote. Send a message. I am so sick of people in Frederick County and in the country in general voting because, well, they're Republican, we have to vote for them. No, you don't, because this is what you get. Impotent leadership. Do nothings, accomplish nothing, because they know they got your vote locked up. They're like Democrats. They know you're just voting for the R. They don't have to earn your vote. They don't have to do anything to impress you. They think you're just sheep that will vote for the letter after their name. So they've got you. And some of you really are sheep. You just throw money at them. Whenever they put their hand out, you can't get in your wallet fast enough to give them money, even though they haven't produced anything in this state, or your state probably, that would give them even the slightest bit of reasoning to ask for more money. People give it to them. You should be embarrassed. You are the problem. You that blindly throw money at these people who produce nothing, have shown us nothing. You are to blame for this. I can't blame someone for treating a person who's a doormat like a doormat. The Republican Party knows most of their donors don't care, are uneducated about the policies and the politics, and just want to look like they're good Republicans and will give them money. You're to blame for this. I hold you responsible, not the leadership. They're hustlers. They're pimps. They're doing what they're supposed to do, is get your money to keep them in authority, keep them having parties and happy hours and giving money to their friends that are running for office, not candidates, friends that are running for office. I blame you. It is your fault. I hold you accountable. And karma doesn't forget. So if you live in Frederick County, do not vote for any incumbent on the Republican ticket this election. Do not. Vote them out or undervote, but don't give them your vote. Send a message that you're tired of business as usual. You're tired of the do-nothing representation we have. You're tired of the goddamn Central Committee not doing a fucking thing to help us. Stop giving them your money, stop giving them your time, and stop giving them your damn votes. And if you keep doing that, I blame you. You are no better than a liberal. I blame you. Demand they put up candidates that actually want to do the job. God, it makes me sick that I got to repeat this every damn weekend. But this crap happens. 400 citizens showed up. 400 people took time out of their day to stand there for a couple hours to honor a person they've never met, and yet the people they voted for couldn't get off their ass or couldn't free up 20 minutes just to make an appearance. That's what pisses me off. And it should piss you off too. But for something tells me it doesn't, and it won't. Again, people holding Israel responsible. They're starving the people of Gaza. It's their fault. Hamas hijacked 4 UNICEF trucks of baby formula, leaving 2,700 Gazan babies without food. A Jordanian aid truck driver murdered 2 IDF soldiers at the Al-Anbai crossing, shutting it down for future deliveries. And the so-called pro-Palestine activists, all those goddamn actors in Hollywood that nobody cares about, they're all just patting themselves in the back, talking about how great they are. Or the idiots that are trying to break the naval blockade in a war zone to get the Gaza to bring them hot dogs and potato chips. They don't care about the facts. Their reality is not their friend. This is, like it says, it's not about helping Gaza at all. Never has been. If it were about helping people, what about down in Africa, where the people are being slaughtered wholesale? They're not talking about that. Because has nothing to do with the Jews, and these people hate Jews. That's what this is about. And if you don't believe me, read that post again. So tired of all these people thinking they know what's going on. When you don't, you're listening to the wrong people. You're listening to anti-Semites and racists. That's who you're listening to, not the right people. And like I said, I hope, and pray one day that I never, ever have to talk about Israel or anti-Semitism again. I hope. That is a deep wish of mine. I hope when my son's my age, this crap as history. Like, oh, you remember back in 2025 when this was going on? It's great that it doesn't happen anymore. I hope. But I don't think that's going to happen. And that's sad. It's very sad. Hope your children aren't going to grow up with this either. I just got to take this country back. We really do. It's getting to the point where you're going to have to say, we need to take this country back by all means necessary. We're not at that point yet. Like I said earlier, we're not there yet. And I hope we don't get there. I hope something happens that changes things in a peaceful, permanent way. I truly do. I just don't think it's going to get there. I think it's going to end up in a place that nobody wants it to end up in. And all I can do is I blame the left. And I blame people I was just talking about that don't expect anything from the Republican Party, that continually fund them and sing their praises when they don't do anything to stand up for what's right, when they roll over and play bitch. I blame them too. They're just as bad as the liberals. And if that offends you, I don't care. I don't. I'm past caring. Don't watch me anymore. Tell your friends not to watch me anymore. Ridicule me, insult me, whatever you got to do. I don't care. If I offend you, then maybe you should be offended. Maybe you should start listening and you wouldn't be offended anymore. And if it just only 2 people watch me from now on, hey, that's awesome. I'll talk to 2 people. I'll talk to 1 person. There's a whole lot of blame to go around. And we need to start assigning it and hold these people accountable for what they do. So we're about that time where I've kept you long enough. Again, you got a lot of great shows on this network. You got The Pulse. You've got Alexander Levine. You've got Damon Galdo. 2 times a week, both of them. Pulse is on Wednesdays at 8. We have that new podcast starting soon. I believe it's going to be a Young Republican Club out of New Jersey. They're going to have their own show, which is going to be great. Get a different perspective from a group of younger people. That can never hurt. If you're interested in sponsoring, again, it's rolling through the bottom here. Any of the podcasts or just the network, just go to our website, click on sponsorship, and then fill out the form and follow the directions. It's really that simple. Ground floor opportunity. Literally, we are every week we have more people ask to be podcasters. We're going through applications and trying to figure out who's a good fit and who's not, and then figuring out how to get them on here. So right now is the time to get in on it. Tell them Seth sent you. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but if you want to sponsor, just say, hey, I heard that on the conservative corner. I'm interested. But yeah, really, it's a good network. Now's the time to get on there. So it's at that point of the show now where I like to give an opinion. Sometimes the opinion has nothing to do with the show. It's just something that stuck in my head for the week and I want to get it out. So I share it. What I'm going to share today is when I was at the vigil for Charlie Kirk, I gave a speech. I was lucky enough to speak and talk to the people. And I have my speech here, and I'm going to read that to everybody. Again, it's my opinion. You don't have to like it. You don't have to agree with it. You can laugh and do what you want to do, but I respect you all enough that I'd like to share this with you. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, family, and fellow patriots, tonight we gather not just to mourn, but to celebrate the extraordinary life and enduring legacy of Charlie Kirk, a visionary who ignited a fire in the hearts of young Americans and changed the course of our nation's future. At just 18 years old, Charlie co-founded Turning Point USA, a movement born from a deep love for freedom, limited government, and the unyielding spirit of conservatism. Which started as a grassroots effort on college campuses has blossomed into a powerhouse with over 850 chapters, empowering more than 250,000 students to stand tall, speak boldly, and defend the principles that make this country great. Charlie was more than an activist. He was a mentor to some, a brother in arms to others, and a beacon of hope for a generation. Through his electrifying rallies that drew tens of thousands, his top-ranked podcasts that reach millions daily, and his tireless advocacy alongside leaders like President Trump, he gave young conservatives the confidence to embrace their identity, to wear their MAGA hats with pride, and to engage in the cultural war with urgency and faith. He built bridges to churches and schools, launching initiatives like Turning Point Academy to root education in truth and counter the tides of division. Even in his final moments, speaking at a campus event on September 10th, Charlie was doing what he loved most, inspiring the next generation. His legacy isn't measured in years, but in the lives he touched. The Black leaders who found a home in the movement, the students who formed new chapters in his honor, and the political landscape he reshaped for decades to come. Charlie leaves behind a loving wife, Erica, and 2 beautiful children, but his spirit lives on in every young voice raised for liberty. He reminded us that one person's passion can turn the point of history. Mr. Kirk, your light will never fade. Thank you for your relentless fight, your unbreakable spirit, and your profound love for this country. Rest in peace, sir. God bless you, and God bless America. That was the speech I gave at the vigil in Frederick County that was put on by Frederick County Conservative Club and the president, Fred Profiter. If you're interested in that club, you can find them on fccc.us, and you can learn more about them and what they do. They are the most active and involved club in Frederick County. They have done more for conservatism and Republicans than any other club in that county. Again, that's not make-believe. That's not opinion. That's fact. And you go to their website, you can see for yourself. So again, that was just my opinion. You don't have to like it. You can tell me I was wrong or whatever. So yeah, thanks for hanging out with me again. It's humbling that any of you spend any of your time listening to me ramble on and yell and scream. I am humbled. Again, next week I'm going to try to have that pastor come on so we can kind of get into the religious side of things, and maybe he can explain things to us better than I. Well, I know he can. We just got to ask the right questions. So thank you for hanging out. Have a good rest of the evening. Have a better week. I'll see you Wednesday at 8 on the Pulse. I might be helping somebody out on their show Tuesday. I'm not sure. Depends on what my schedule looks like. So I'll know more about that tomorrow. But yeah, again, thank you. I'm honored and humbled that you watch me. And just remember, if you live your life based on a set of principles and not by a party, you're going to lead a very good life, and you're going to leave a legacy that your family and you can be proud of. Have a good evening.